Welcome to my channel where I share my science career job hunting experiences, deliver presentations related to pharma, quality, documentation, microbiology, and finally improve on my communication skills. I'm Paul Yeatman, a Bachelor of Science graduate with a double major in microbiology and immunology with 15 years plus experience in pharmaceutical manufacturing. I'm seeking a post-redundancy return to the lab. As well as here, I can be found on LinkedIn, Twitter, and my microbiology blog. So be sure to check those resources out to get access to more information about me and how my skills and experiences can help you, potentially. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, before you go any further, like this video as it helps out the channel's popularity, so I am told. Today I will discuss my thoughts on ghosting, that is being ghosted and not the other way around. Roll intro. In September of this year, being 2020, Forbes published an article titled "The Rude, Inconsiderate Things Job Seekers Are Forced to Endure in the Job Search and Interviewing Process." A fairly emotive title, but it gets the content across quite well. Besides observations like jobs reporting to be entry-level and requiring multiple years of experience or a PhD, or roles where if the candidate wasn't 100% aligned to position and being instantly dismissed, so what's the point of transferable knowledge? My biggest connect was reading about ghosting. Ghosting is where you have a positive interaction with a recruiter or a potential employer, and then after your interview, all you hear are crickets. Chirp, 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 chirp. Another thing I must point out here is that following an interview, be that in real life, by video, by phone, I will send off a thank you email. And I've never ever got a response to any of those, which makes me sort of wonder why is the point when all these recommendations are send them. My thoughts on ghosting. I had not planned on detailing specifics of job interview history until I got a real job. Well, why is this? I was fearful potential employers would see the video and rather than conclude I was a determined and persistent job seeker, they would interpret my lack of success in acquiring a job as representative of my unsuitability. And employers have already passed on my valuable skills, knowledge and experience, so perhaps that would indicate to new potential employers that I am unsuited to a role with them, or some sort of thinking like that, which is probably nuts, but who knows. I no longer care about that anyway. The chances of a new lab role fade as time marches on. My references get grayer and grayer, and any chance of having relevant recent experience besides doing these videos and running my microbiology website and giving advice on LinkedIn, like, how do you get it? Who knows? So anyway, I keep getting interviews. I keep getting either ghosted or told someone with relevant recent experience was chosen. So no to experience, no to knowledge, no to enthusiasm. What gives? Ghosting shows a lack of respect. If someone has taken the time to interview you, then they can at least take another 2 to 5 minutes to phone or even email to tell you to try again as you were unsuccessful on this occasion. Posting information about which employers have ghosted me might assist you to not waste your time applying for roles with them. If the company ghosts you, how are they likely to treat the rest of their employees? Probably with a lack of consideration as well. Do we really want to work for a company or the individuals who conducted the interview when they are incapable of showing a satisfactory level of respect? I know I could work for anybody, but I would probably need to seriously consider about working with somebody who had disrespected me during the interview stage. How about you? So, who has ghosted me? What follows now are the 13 times I've been ghosted, including a couple of occasions where I found out through a third party what the employer or recruiter thought. If you've been following my videos, you'll know I'm a big fan of documentation and keeping notes, which is where all this information has come from. I've attended 29 interviews in total in the last 10 years and been ghosted 13 times. That's about a 45% ghosting rate. If that's indicative of the pharmaceutical industry, it's pretty poor. If it's indicative of the recruitment industry or employers in general, that's even worse. It just shows a complete lack of respect for most people trying to get a job. And if you want to employ somebody, you've got to show respect to them. Like, I'll be respectful to people who are interviewing me. The least they can do is return that. So, onto my list. Applied to be a GMP technical writer with Red Cross Blood Bank. This was a phone interview. I felt the interview went really well. After that, crickets. I applied through tech staff to be a microbiologist. This led to the usual meet and greet the recruiter process where I met the recruiter, filled in a bunch of forms, and following that, crickets. I applied to be a technical document writer with tech staff again a few months later. Another informal interview resulted, this time at a cafe at Chasden. Following that, crickets. I applied to be a documentation manager, also with a recruitment company called Veritas. Again, the usual meet and greet, the recruitment representative, fill in a bunch of forms. After that, crickets. Following up the role, I was informed that it had evaporated as it had never existed. Why waste my time in the first place telling me the role was there? I applied to be an e-learning developer with a company called Franklin Scholar. I had a one-on-one interview on site for this that lasted about an hour. After that, crickets, even after following it up. No response to any of my inquiries. Like, who operates businesses or think that's a good way to run the show? I applied for a technical services officer role with Shepherd Cycles. Not science, but it's a job where I went for an interview. I discovered during the on-site interview role it was nothing like the job description. I applied mainly because it was technical services officer. It was more customer phone support. Following the interview anyway, crickets. Sometime later, I applied for a technical specialist microbiology role with a company called DTS. I didn't get an interview in this case, but I did find out through a recruiter that this mob has said I was unsuitable to work with them as I was not a suitable fit. Why was I not informed directly? Why was I unsuitable for the role? Who could tell me? Nobody. So why make statements and not being able to back them up? It's one thing that gives me irks. I applied for a microbiology technical writer role through ChemSchool. This was for a role at Aspen. You may recall that I was previously a microbiology team leader at Aspen, and that role became redundant, leading to the wonderful times that I am now having. Following the on-site interview, the interviewer indicated Aspen said they did not re-employ employees that they had made redundant. So there's two things that could have been happening here. Either the recruiter was lying or Aspen operates illegally, because it is illegal not to re-employ redundant people because you're not the one who's made redundant. It's a job that's redundant. I mean, if they've got a job there that's suitable for you, then you should be considered. It would be illegal for them to say that they don't do that. So I suspect that the recruiter was lying through her ass. I should have got her statement in writing. I also found out the interviewer thought I was too quiet. She made a number of incorrect statements regarding my skills and former team members having led me and not the other way around. For this, I offered no response, holding my tongue, figuring it was best to be respectful during an interview. Apparently not. And I hate it when recruiters play games. Still in 2013, I applied for a QA associate role through Kelly Scientific. I had what seemed to be an informal interview in a cafe in a city, and that led to, you guessed it, crickets. Next up was a quality regulatory officer role with Hydrolite. Following up this position, I found the HR rep to be very rude. Here I was not ghosted as such, but it took a lot of work on my effort to get any information out of them following the interview. So it was like pulling teeth, and it's like, hey, how's that job going? Hello, sorry, I'm very rude, fuck off. Getting on to this year, I applied to be a pharmaceutical microbiologist with IDT. In the interview, the QA manager spent 90% in the interview gazing off through the window, and following the interview, crickets. The positive out of this is that I made money on their shares, so wee. I also applied to be a microbiologist through a company called Good People HR. I got to go here and do this online test response, which I did, and following that, crickets. I then applied for a production technician lead role with a company called MSD after they approached me. I didn't get ghosted here. I got to the stage 2 interview where supposedly it was me and another candidate. Over a week later, and after a few please tell me what's going on emails, I was told that the role was given to the other candidate who had recent experience and could hit the ground running. So that must mean that I'm capable of interpreting controlled documentation and being trained on it and signed off on it before I can actually do work, which is how it works in this industry. You can't do anything until you're trained and sign off on it. So to say hit the ground running, like, what does that mean? So anyway, that makes me wonder what the company's playing at. The day they told me that I didn't get the role and it went to the other candidate, presumably I didn't misinterpret what they said, the role was re-advertised, and it's been re-advertised probably every 2 weeks since. So why contact me about a position, go to the bother of getting me in for an interview, tell me the other person got the job, and then re-advertise the job over and over again? Like, you waste my time doing this. Fair enough, I get interviews experience, but Jesus, blasphemer. And most recently, like last week, I interviewed via the phone for a QC microbiology team leader role with Evolve Recruitment, ultimately for a role at CSL. During the phone interview, I was informed that During the phone interview, I was informed that the client is keen to fill the role, so we'll move quickly. And it's been over a week later, and after touching base with a thank you email and also to ask how things are going, what have I heard? The sweet sound of crickets. So of these 13 ghosting occasions, about half have all been through recruitment agencies, which is another reason why I have a very dim view of them. So that's the video on ghosting. I hope you found that interesting. In my next video, I will discuss something else of interest, most likely. If you have found this video interesting or informative, subscribe to my channel to easily see when new content is added. Click the thumbs up button to like the video, as that will help me grow my audience and allow me to improve my offerings on this platform and possibly get me out there a bit more, and maybe a potential employer will see it and go, he's the man for us, or human for us, or whatever. Also, share the video, share it wide and far. If you have something to say, hopefully constructive and not just some inane comment like the ones I've been getting, comment on the video. Perhaps a topic you would like me to present on, or even some positive feedback. Comment, comment, comment. Get some interaction happening here, guys and girls and things. Until next time, this has been Paul Yeatman, a scientist seeking career satisfaction. Kapla! And I'll link to the Forbes article in the video notes as well, in case you're interested in sharing the, for want of a better word, misery.